Gyarados, the atrocious Pokemon. On record for massacring entire cities and civilizations if angered, and is infamous for its, humble beginnings. It is regarded as one of the strongest Pokemon of all time. But is it? Let's find out. This is the history of Gyarados. I will be covering these competitive formats. Gen 1. Gyarados' usability comes from its high attack and special stats, allowing it to use Hyper Beam, Blizzard, and Thunderbolt effectively. While Gyarados has access to strong Stab, Surf, and Hydro Pumps, the only slot it could take away to make room for this is Blizzards, and that move generally provided better coverage. What holds Gyarados back is its 4 times weakness to electric attacks, since the move type is common in the metagame. While its defensive stats are quite impressive, electric type attacks cut right through. This, along with its middling speed statistic, holds the Serpent back. Strong matchups include Grass, Rock, and Ground types. Gyarados can also handle Water types lacking electric type coverage. Pokemon such as Starmie, Lapras, and Gengar tear Gyarados apart. Higher speed stats, access to Thunderbolt, and high enough defensive stats to take at least one hit create one-sided matchups. Pokemon with high HP such as Clefable and Snorlax can outlast whatever it dishes out, and electric types, well, have stab electric attacks. All this led to Gyarados being ranked near the bottom of the Nintendo Cup metagame. On to Gen 2. The special split leaves Gyarados with 60 special attack and 100 special defense, weakening its water stab. Hyper Beam's nerf led to Double Edge being the preferred normal type move, as its base power is buffed by 20 points. Zap Cannon replaces Thunderbolt to compensate for the lower special offensive stat, and Hydro Pump substitutes for Blizzard as it now more accurate and powerful. Hidden Power Ground is added to hit electric types, daring to switch in. Usage remains low, for Dragonite outclasses Gyarados in every category. On the bright side, Gyarados combos well defensively with Steelix. It also matches up well with Rock types, Ground types, as well as Water types lacking electric coverage, although with Hidden Power this is a less common occurrence. Also, Porygon 2, electric types, and Pokemon with access to strong electric attacks in general that will take a hit from Gyarados keep it in check. As a result, Gyarados still recorded low usage in the Nintendo Cup, only being used as a wildcard pick to throw opponents off. Gen 3, the introduction of EVs mean only 2 stats out of 6 can now be maxed at once. This leads to offensive Pokemon becoming frailer, while defensive Pokemon lose offensive presence. Intimidate makes Gyarados a better pivot, as it can take physical attacks more effectively and force switches. Finally, Hidden Power Ground can be replaced with Earthquake, increasing its ability to threaten electric types that look to switch in. Dragonite turns Gyarados into a powerful late-game sweeper, and unlike Tyranitar and Salamence, it handles water types fairly well. A Choice Band gives the option of being a strong wall breaker. Taunt and Thunder Wave improve utility, as now Gyarados can cripple offensive and defensive Pokemon. Fighting, Grass, and Water types are thrashed by Gyarados, while Rock and Ground types are still eviscerated by Water moves. While set up, Gyarados can even knock out electric types before they can attack. Burn and Paralysis conditions cripple Gyarados, while electric types, Starmie, Porygon 2, and Regice make quick work of the Serpent. Not to mention, any Pokemon carrying an electric type move can still tear through its defenses. Gyarados was placed in the overused tier by Smogon and was widely considered top 30 within the format. Gen 4. Attacking moves are now categorized as either physical or special instead of being based on the typings of the move. Stealth Rock is a standard entry hazard on teams, which leads to Gyarados losing 25% of its health whenever it switches in. Gyarados' movesets become fully physical, with Waterfall and Bounce as the stab moves, and Stone Edge, Ice Beam, or Payback for coverage. Strong matchups include Water, Fighting, Bug, Fire, Ground, and Rock. Gyarados still falls to any strong electric types, Burn, and Paralysis. Porygon 2, Ronome can take any hits and retaliate with Thunderbolt. Physically defensive Cresselia, Celebi, and Tangrowth can all wall Gyarados and chip away at its health, or status it. Thunder Punch Metagross can knock it out as long as it survives an Earthquake, while Fortress and Water types packing Hidden Power Electric can threaten the Serpent out, while Skarmory can force a switch, and Starmie can still act as Gyarados' bane. It maintained its overused tiering, as well as rising in usage, being considered top 23 by many. Gen 5. Gyarados receives Moxie as an ability, which it can use to snowball opposing teams during sweep attempts. High tier meta revolves around Weather Wars, making Water Stab deadly. Other than that, it picks up where it left off. His strengths are unchanged. However, trainers must now be more cautious when sacrificing a Pokemon in the hopes of bringing in a check, for Moxie can punish this approach. Some newcomers that give Gyarados a rough time include Ferrothorn, Rotom W, Kyurem Black, Choice Scarf Terrakion, Choice Scarf Thundurus, Cloyster Skill Link plus Shell Smash, Keldeo, and residual damage such as Stealth Rock, Sandstorm, Toxic, and Leech Seed. Even so, it maintains its place in the overused tier, being considered top 34 in the meta. Gen 6. Gyarados' weaknesses become easier to abuse as the weather-centric metagame is gone. Mega Forms create more high-tier defensive as well as offensive threats, and about 60% of the OU metagame checks and counters it. Gyarados can still handle fire, ground, and fighting types such as Infernape, Mamoswine, and Cobalion. Grass types such as Shaman and Roserade also struggle to break Gyarados. Gyarados is beaten by faster Pokemon, physical walls, electric types, bulky water types, and Prankster. Gyarados' Achilles heel, electric type attacks, as well as lower speed statistic prior to setup causes the famous Sweeper to fall into the underused tier and dropping to the top 95 overall in the meta. Mega Gyarados' story is quite different. Higher attack and defense statistics make Mega Gyarados more threatening and sturdy. Having Stab Crunch assist in taking out Jirachi, Slowbro, and Latias, who previously had the upper hand. Stab Waterfall handles fire, fairy, and fighting types, while Mold Breaker ignores Unaware, Sturdy, Magic Bounce, and Water Absorb. The Mega Form is strong against Psychic, Fairy, Fighting, Fire, Grass, and Dragon types with Dark, Water, and Ice coverage. It can threaten other top threats if it packs Earthquake, such as Rotom. Its speed points are unchanged in this form, which hurts it in an ever faster paced metagame. Residual damage wears Mega Gyarados out over time, since it lacks reliable recovery. Fighting types, electric types, physically defensive Pokemon, status conditions, residual damage, and fairy types can keep this form in check. The Mega Form is borderline in Smogon format, being widely considered top 17 in the meta. 2012 doubles. With Zapdos being high usage, one would think Gyarados would be unusable. Wrong. Intimidate is still a useful ability in doubles, and a Wakan Berry can alleviate the electric threat. More importantly, Hitmontop and Weavile struggle with Gyarados, and the Serpent packs some useful support moves. An excellent attack statistic combined with Water Stab makes for one monster of an offensive threat in doubles. Gyarados must be wary of rock types that switch in to use Rock Slide, electric types, Abomasnow, and Gastrodon. But other than that, he can hold his own in VGC meta. 2014 doubles. Gyarados takes on a more offensive role with Dragon Dance sets. It pulverizes defensive walls. Even so, Ferrothorn, Rotom Wash, and Amoonguss are more common in the metagame, and the more offensive nature of Gyarados' sets is hurt by status and attack drops. It thrives in much higher usage than previous VGC seasons. So, how good was Gyarados? Well, he started out near the bottom of the metagame, then started to improve upon with the release of Gen 3, and it has its name in the top tiers ever since. Even though his base form is becoming insignificant again, taking all generations into account, Gyarados is slightly above average. That's it. Thank you for watching the video. I will have another video up next week, so leave a comment of what Pokemon you want to see next. Until then, stay cool, my noobs.